In the summer of 1943, as the Eastern Front burned with the fury of war, the fields near Kursk became the stage for the largest tank battle in human history. Thousands of armored beasts roared across the plains, their engines screaming, their treads tearing the earth apart. Amid that storm of steel and fire, one tank would earn a name whispered in fear by the enemy: the Ghost of Kursk. It was a Soviet T-34, part of the 13th Guards Tank Brigade. Its commander was Captain Ivan Burov, a man known for his calm voice under fire and his unmatched precision in the chaos of battle. His crew, Gunner Petrov, driver Mikhail, loader Yegor, and radio operator Sasha, were young men hardened by endless winters and too many burials. To them, the T-34 was not just a machine, it was their home, their fortress, their heartbeat. On the morning of July 12th, as dawn broke through a red haze of smoke, Burov's unit was ordered to hold the southern ridge. Reports said German Tiger tanks were advancing, massive, invincible beasts with armor that could shrug off most shells. But Burov didn't flinch. He ran his hand across the side of his tank and whispered, "Let's show them what we're made of." By midday, the plains erupted into chaos. The air was thick with dust, the ground trembling beneath the thunder of engines and explosions. Shells screamed overhead. T-34s raced forward, flanking the German Tigers from both sides. The sound of gunfire was constant, deafening. In the middle of that inferno, Burov's T-34 was hit, a direct strike to the rear. Flames burst from the engine compartment. Smoke filled the cabin. Sasha shouted, "We're on fire!" But Burov barked back, "Stay in position! Aim for the lead Tiger!" Petrov fired. The shell hit dead center. The German tank exploded, sending debris into the air like shards of night. One after another, Burov's crew fired until their last shell was gone. Then came the second hit, a Tiger's shell tearing through the turret. Metal screamed. Yegor was thrown back, blood across his face. Mikhail tried to pull the controls, but the engine was dead. Burov shouted orders, but the world went silent. And then, as another explosion shook the ground, everything went black. When Soviet reinforcements arrived hours later, the ridge was a graveyard of burning steel. Among them, the remains of Burov's tank sat still, half buried in the dirt, its hull scorched, its turret frozen in final defiance. The crew was presumed dead. The coordinates were marked. The field left as it was, one more forgotten scar of the war. But weeks later, something strange happened. Soviet patrols reported seeing a lone T-34 moving across the battlefield at night. No headlights, no radio signal, no formation. Just a silhouette gliding through the smoke. When they approached, it vanished. At first, they thought it was nerves, the mind playing, tricks after too many nights without sleep. But then German units began reporting it too. "A Russian tank that doesn't die," one officer wrote. "It appears after midnight, fires once, and disappears into the mist." The rumors spread fast. Soldiers began calling it the ghost tank of Kursk. Some swore they heard faint radio, transmissions near the battlefield, voices repeating old Soviet codes from a frequency long abandoned. One German gunner claimed he saw the face of a burned man through the tank's cracked viewport before it, vanished in front of his eyes. Commanders dismissed the stories as hallucinations, products of exhaustion and fear. But the sightings continued. In late August, a Soviet recovery team was sent to salvage old wrecks from the battlefield. Among the ruins, they found Burov's T-34 exactly where it had fallen, blackened, rusted and filled with ashes. But inside, the radio was still functional. When they powered it up, static filled the air. Then, faintly, a voice was steady and calm that spoke. "Target locked. Fire." The signal cut out. The men froze. The transmission had come from inside the tank. Even though there were no living crew members inside, the engineers disassembled the machine but could not explain it. The circuits were fused, the battery corroded. Yet the radio worked, only at night, and only when the wind blew from the west. The site was eventually sealed off, and the tank was buried under layers of earth, forgotten once more. Years passed. The war ended. The fields of Kursk grew quiet again. In the 1970s, a group of historians returned to document the old battlefields. One evening, as they camped near the ridge, they heard it, the low rumble of an engine in the distance. They thought it was thunder, but then came the clanking of treads, heavy and deliberate. A beam of dim light cut through the fog. They turned and saw it, a T-34 rolling through the mist, its Soviet star glowing faintly beneath the soot. No driver, no crew, just the machine, moving as if it remembered the path it once fought on. The researchers fled, but one stayed behind with a recorder. What he captured was chilling. The faint sound of voices speaking Russian, issuing commands. Load shell, fire, adjust aim. Then silence. When the tape was played back later, experts confirmed the voices matched the 13th Guards Brigades radio call signs from 1943, the same unit that had perished on that ridge. In the years that followed, farmers in the area told stories of hearing tank engines beneath the soil during storms. Children claimed to see red lights moving in the fog. Some said the ghosts of Burov's crew still guarded the fields, refusing to surrender the ground they died defending. Military officials denied everything, calling it folklore. But even they avoided patrols near that ridge after dark. In 1993, on the 50th anniversary of the Battle of Kursk, a memorial team unearthed parts of an old T-34 for a museum exhibit. Among the debris was a dented metal plate with faded Cyrillic writing. It read 13th Guards, glory to the A, motherland. The moment they lifted it, thunder echoed across the plains. Witnesses say the ground vibrated, and for a few seconds, they heard an engine roar beneath their feet, then nothing but the wind. Today, the story of the ghost tank remains one of the most haunting legends of World War II. Historians debate whether it was a mix of myth and memory, or something that truly defied death. But for those who have stood on that ridge at night and heard the faint sound of tracks moving in the dark, there is no question. They say the ghost tank still roams the fields of Kursk, its engine fueled not by diesel, but by duty. The souls of its crew bound to the machine they refused to abandon. The world moved on, but the tank did not. It waits, somewhere between the living and the dead, guarding the ground it once fought for, forever ready for one more battle. And when the wind howls across the plains, carrying the echoes of war, some swear they can still hear Burov's calm voice through the static. Hold the line.